Ignition sequence start. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Dallas here with episode 1 of the QuadCast, here with my good friend Steve Royakers, and today we're going to be talking all things ATV motocross, from the rookies to the stock class to everything in between, and also about Steve. So, what's up, Steve?
I'm excited, man.
Yeah,
Excited to kick this thing off,
Dude,
get going.
Pumped, man. We've been talking about this thing for quite some time. We are excited to get it rolling. So, let's roll right into it, man. So, this year you won national championship in 30 plus B, correct?
Yeah, it was, you know, it sounds cheesy to say a dream come true, but, you know, I've been around ATV motocross for, you know, a good many years, and, you know, something that I always wanted to do and just never really put my foot down and, you know, made it a goal. And last year I did it, and it felt really good to have like all the hard work that I put in and time and money actually achieve the goal I set out to achieve. I mean, it was just pretty amazing.
I mean, especially because I know at the beginning of the year we were running some of the SE quad races together, and you were even saying, like, we were texting, and I believe you said like you thought you were going to make SE quads your main focus because you didn't know if you were going to be able to make it to all the nationals, and then you just ended up just zooting right through it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just because, like you said, I wasn't sure if I was even going to do it because, you know, just some things had fallen through, and, you know, I had a couple races, and, you know, I was like, you know what, I'll just do one more. I'll just go to Texas. I went to Texas and I won, and so it kind of just, you know, I felt like I'd gone too far to stop now at this point. And so I just kept going with it, and like I said, it paid off, and it felt great, man.
Especially when you drive like 16 hours out to like West Texas almost to like race.
The toughest one was Unadilla. Like that one, it was just the middle of the summer. You know, you're halfway through the schedule already, so you're already like, you know, wearing down on all the drives, and that one just was like 20 hours. I feel like it was a long one. Okay. It was a tough one.
I hate driving the 5 hours for the SE quad races, man. So, all right. So a couple questions: your best race, favorite track, and worst crash.
So I would have to say that I can answer two of those questions with one answer. Yeah. Unadilla was probably my favorite track. It just suited my style. It was, you know, hard pack. It was fast. The jumps were big. They're really fun. So I would say Unadilla for sure. And then this year at Unadilla, I, you know, had some good speed because I was riding well there and had some really good races. So that was fun. Worst crash, like, ever or last year, or what are we talking? Let's go,
because I know you bit it hard at south of the border. Was that your worst one?
That one was kind of up there as far as scary, you know, because you touch in the air.
Too,
you touch in the air and you know it's coming. Those always suck. I would say probably one of my worst was like 2003 or something like that. Right before, what year did the pro production kick off?
I think 2003.
Yeah,
I believe 2003 or 4, like right in that range.
Yeah, so going into 2003, we were at a winter warm-up Georgia Series local, and I had just gotten that year one of Jeremiah Jones's practice bikes, 250R.
Zach still has those A-arms, correct?
Yeah, my buddy still has some pieces to it. But, yeah, so going into that season, I'm at Ichikani. I was going to ride, like, B class, and, you know, Jeremiah Jones had shown up, you know, because Ichikani was the opening round, so any chance to get some practice on that track. And, you know, I was riding, like, he wasn't too far ahead of me, like, you know, relatively. We're talking first lap, right? And so he goes through the whoop section, and I just see him just hammer through these whoops on a Yamaha, like, you know, an 03 Yamaha. And I'm on his old, you know, 250R, and so I got a little courage, a little more than I had skill for, and I decided I was going to pin it through those whoops, and about halfway through, next thing I knew, I was just cartwheeling, me and the bike both. So that's probably the worst I've ever had, trying to keep up with Jeremiah Jones, riding over my head.
Did you have any injuries from that? Or?
No, I don't know how.
Yeah. So, obviously, it's like with quads, like, it's so obscure, so small, like, everybody basically, like, everybody almost says, well, like, why do you ride quads? Like, why not dirt bikes, basically? Everybody kind of uses that thing. So it's like, I remember we said this. What's your ATV racing story?
Yeah,
you know, like
it's
how
one
did
of
you
my
get
favorite
into quad?
questions for sure. Because, like you just said, it's an obscure sport, and you know, it's not something that's in the mainstream. So I always like to find out how somebody got into it. And for me, I grew up on dirt bikes, and I don't know. I think I had a friend in middle school or something like that had a 4-wheeler. And I used to go over to his house and we'd ride in the field, and I just loved like pitching it sideways. It was just so much fun. And so my dad got me a blaster, and you know, I had ridden dirt bikes and motocross when I was young, so I wanted to hit some jumps. And that's what I had at the time, was a 4-wheeler, so that's what I started doing. And it just kind of snowballed from there. What about you?
Dude, mine is like just like my answer like is a lot of my dirt bike friends be like, why quads? You know, and I'm like, well, because when you're a young kid, you don't really get to pick that kind of like big thing to buy, you know what I mean? So like I came down the stairs for Christmas one year when I was like 10. Lo and behold, there's a little TRX 90 down there, man. So, you know, I started riding that and just walking to the grocery store, saw ATV Sport magazine, you know, and just that's the end of it.
Dirt wheels,
dude. Dirt wheels, dude. That was the end of it, man. So that's pretty much it. So from there on to nationals, obviously, if you're into quads and you care at all about the sport, you know about TRC, you know about those video edits, which are pretty sick. When did that thought get in your head? Like, what made you decide to start TRC? Like, when did you like, well, no, I'm gonna do something like this?
So it started for me because I just was looking for a side project, you know, and I wanted to be involved with, you know, the sport that I love. You know, I was like, it'd be cool to.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, doesn't it? It was, you know, I wanted to contribute, right? And so it kind of just started with a way for myself to make a little bit of money, and you know, help people out. And so I started a website, created some T-shirts, and the way it would work is if you ordered a shirt off of my site, you know, a portion of the proceeds could go to the racer of your choice. You know, and so I had profile pages on my website with different riders and stuff like that.
Oh, what year did this? What year?
2014.
2014.
Yeah. And you know, in the midst of doing all that, one of the guys that I was helping out, I had on the site, he was a dirt bike guy. You know, we wanted to make an edit. You know, I had you know, messed with it a little bit when I was younger, but never really put anything good together. And we wanted to make an edit to help promote the company, myself, him. And so I just kind of went out and bought a drone and a GoPro, and I just went out there and did it, and really fell in love with it, and it really kind of blossomed from there. And that's really more of what took off and got more notice, was the edits, for sure.
Yeah, man, I really liked them. What is your favorite one that you've done so far?
So that's hard, man. I have a couple that I really like. I would say the one that jumps in my mind first would be with Birdman, Zach Gill, at Durham Town. And mostly because that's what really blew my site up in the ATV community. Like, I don't know, there was just something special that happened on that shoot, and we made a really good video, became really good friends, and it just... you know, there was just magic that, you know, was made, and so it just kind of snowballed from there. So that one is a favorite of mine. I like the one that I did with Alex and Zach at, you know, in Alabama. Of course, all the stuff I've done with Parker has been super cool. You know, going down and hanging out with Jeffrey Rastrelli, Sam Rowe, and the boys down there that winter, that was really fun.
Not name
They
dropping
put
or
me
anything,
up. It was, you know, hospitality. So I would say that, you know, a lot of those were my favorites, where I did the longer edits, you know, that I spent, you know, a weekend putting together.
Awesome, man. I think my favorite one is probably either the Vines or that Parker will work a hike video.
Yeah.
Those two are pretty sick.
Yeah.
They're like 10 minutes long, you know, and they're like good. Because, you know, you talked about before about how you always wanted to make a movie.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, just, we're not going to get too into it, but what is like do you have any sort of like little brainchilds going on for that? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, like I definitely have some ideas. I've been brainstorming about that for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I kind of hold close to the vest.
To the
you know? I don't want to put it out there and give
Right.
anybody any ideas. You know?
Very
So,
true. All right.
I don't want to get too deep into that, but I definitely have put, you know, thought into it, and like a lot of the things that I would like to do. And it's just one of those things. It's kind of like a bucket list. You know, it'd be a pretty big investment and a lot of work to take it on. The other side is that it's something I've never done before. So a lot of times when you're doing something like that, you're going to make a lot of mistakes that can, draw out the process as well. So.
Yeah. So what's for TRC? Do you have any sort of like future goals for that thing, or it's just kind of like a little fun project?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of a fun project at this point. The t-shirt game is a hard game, and so it just didn't really get the traction that I was hoping it would. And maybe that's because I just had made some missteps, but that's one thing that you learn is when you're trying to do something like that is that you're going to make mistakes, and so that's as far as that goes. But I definitely am going to keep doing videos, stuff like that. Like you said, would love to do a movie, something like that. But
yeah, awesome, man. Are you gonna be back at the track this year at all, or just select spots and stuff?
For sure. I've been talking with Glenn Turner at SE Quads, and I'm gonna try and make as many of those as I can, and put some videos together for him there. Definitely want to go to some nationals. Mostly going to be southeast. I'm going to go south of the border.
Maybe Muddy Creek.
Muddy Creek. I enjoy Muddy Creek. I was bummed it got rained out last year.
It got like flooded.
Yeah, it is
dude.
crazy. Like just seeing people on the internet just hating on them about canceling that.
Nobody would have wanted it.
It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. It wouldn't matter what they did. There'd be somebody screaming on Facebook.
Everywhere.
It's
sounding like dirt bike people, man.
Yeah.
All right. Enough about you. All right, we're over. Okay, we got it.
I'm a nobody.
I know Sam Roach, Jeffrey Strelly, but all right, Daytona next week, right? Daytona. All right, so what do you think of the schedule this year? And what do you think of the schedule this year? How about that?
I like it. I think they shortened it up, didn't they?
Yeah, I believe it is. Hold on, I think it's 10 rounds, or is it 9? Yeah, it's 10 rounds.
Okay. Yeah,
with only 2 pro only rounds.
Yeah, so I guess that's where I was thinking it's shortened up is for amateurs. I can't believe they dropped High Point. That was the first thing that dropped it. That stuck out to me is that's always kind of been a staple of the series, and so seeing that fall off the schedule was interesting to me. I personally was hoping South of the Border would not be on the schedule because I didn't like it last year.
No.
Some people
the way
did.
it developed was not great.
Not great for racing.
Well, the reason I crashed so hard was because they went out there and watered the piss out of it before my first moto, and on that double section in the back where you have that turning double, my rear end kicked out. I landed perpendicular on that big double, dude, and like blasted the back of my head into the face of the next.
The sketchy part about that section is it's really high off the ground.
If you run off the side, you're gonna die. That's why Nicholson got so jacked up, dude. Yeah,
I hated to see that last year because
dude, that was rough.
He was riding so good, and him and his brother had such a great battle at Daytona, just battling back and forth, passing each other.
Triple, dude.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. They were like the only ones doing it.
Yeah.
And so that was a bummer because, and then when he came back at the end of the year, he was involved in some good battles with his brother, like in Unadilla. That was really cool. So seeing him go out so early because of a stupid obstacle built poorly, just kind of is a bummer. And so I wasn't really pumped to see them back on the schedule. I personally loved Monster Mountain.
I can't believe it's not back, dude. I'm so glad SC Quads has kept it, and it sucked and blew my motor up right before it last year, so I didn't even get to go. But and then I blew my. I got such bad. I heard, primo, dude. That triple looks sweet, dude. I think I might have booted it. I don't know, probably not.
Yeah,
I'm a pussy.
It was a little sketchy because when you land off the one in front of you're having to turn. So sometimes if you didn't land that one perfectly and you weren't settled, it's just a quick transition to turn it, get it straight, and hit it. And so I said the same thing. I was like, man, I'll hit that thing because I had raced the Nationals last year and had there's some big jumps on this series.
You raced the Nationals last year.
If you guys didn't catch the first part of this. But yeah, I thought the same thing, and then I got there and I was like,
I gotta work on Monday.
I gotta go to work on Monday.
All right, so I mean, obviously we have the pro only events like with the but I do like what they're doing with putting the quads the day before the dirt bike.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's your opinion of that?
My opinion on that is it's gonna depend solely on how the dirt bike side promoters treat it. to me. It's like if they just ignore it and act like it's a monster truck show, basically, you know, it's going to be whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, if there's people out there camping early, they might come out and watch them ride, you know. But if not, if they treat it like, hey, look at these guys, man, out here racing, you know, like these guys are killing it, you know, check it out. Then I think you might get a little, you know, some guys, you might actually change some opinions a little bit, especially because you're going to have that, like, a little bit of that dirt bike elitist type people out there where they think unless it's a dirt bike, there's no way it should be on a motocross track, you know. So maybe they'll be like, damn, these dudes are booting everything out here with like it's nothing, you know. So maybe it'll come around then where they're, I mean, maybe change a couple opinions. I think if they, as long as the dirt bike, the promoters there treat it as something serious and not like Monster Jam, like, you know, and that's what I'm worried about.
I think you're right. They put on such a good show last year at Ironman, hitting the uphill triple, everything like that. I think I think that's the point, is to, you know, maybe gain a little respect, because it's due. I mean, they're badass. You got to have huge nuts to hit a jump that big on a four-wheeler. And so I think that that is the goal. And if they prep the track properly and make it to where they can put on the show that they put on last year, it's going to turn heads. It has to.
Well, what do you think of lap times, comparable lap times? What do you think?
It's just going to depend on the track conditions.
All right, let's say if they're perfect for the quads and in normal.
Like if
the
they both have ideal, it's going to be
the bike. I mean, I think if they both have ideal, I think it will be. Obviously, I'm going to lean towards the bikes, obviously, but the bikes are going to have faster lap times. I think
the way Joel was riding that track last year, I bet it would be close.
Oh, it will be close, but I don't see. I think that Joel and stuff will be like in the top 10 of the bikes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but I don't think that, you know, if like Tomac goes out there and acts like
that's
and like on fire, like Jeffrey Hurling shows up.
Oh no doubt,
flying, like he's gonna lay a faster lap time.
I truly believe he will be at least faster than half the field.
Oh, easily.
Top 20.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Easy. So now with the schedule, what's any potential venues you think we're like missing out on? Should we keep
Monster.
We keep chasing those like same dirt bike national events because we seem to think that that's sort of like we need to go to the same ones they go to. Is that the correct direction, or should we try to maybe find our own like little niche areas?
Well, you know, they go to those for a reason, right? Because they're the best tracks in most cases. So I feel like that is the case, you know, and a lot of it has to do with parking situations and, you know, how much utilities are built around the track. You know, can it handle the volume? But as far as tracks that I think could handle it and would be good, obviously, like I said, Monster Mountain, Mill Creek in Alabama is an amazing track. A lot of fun to ride, plenty of space.
The first time I went, I truly didn't like the track. It was like they didn't prep it that good for us. It was like no lips on anything. But then when we were out there last year, I was like, I love this track. I cannot wait to come back.
Yeah,
it was just
it's
so
a
nice.
lot of fun.
Yeah. Flows so good.
What
man.
about you? Any that jump out to you?
I don't know. See, that's the thing. You don't like South of the Border, but I enjoy what South of the Border has to offer there, and I'm glad that they shifted it to the middle of the summer, so the actual attractions around the track will be open.
See, I think
so,
that's
and I
cool,
think
too.
the promoters could use this as an ultimate thing to bring them like at South of the Border, like talk to the South of the Border people and use them as your promotional like entity, you know, and be like, hey, help us promote. You promote maybe in like Columbia and all the surrounding areas. I think a lot more people than you realize would be willing to, you know, drive the hour and a half out of town to go party at South of the Border.
You're talking about like getting spectators in.
Yeah, it's in spectators, not just, you know, because that's something the Dirt Bike Nationals do. I mean, you go somewhere near Dirt Bike National, I mean, every gas station, flyers, radio, commercials, you know. I know we don't have that kind of resources, but because South of the Border does, and they can reap the benefit of that.
I feel like some of that should be on the venue, right?
For sure, yeah. Some of it you definitely should, man. But, and all the tracks this year, well, who do you think the tracks favor anyone in particular?
I mean, I personally think that they...
Daddy needs his juice.
I didn't know we were taking a break there. So, you know, I personally would say that, you know, they probably lean towards Joel.
Yeah, especially 2 times Ironman. Like, Ironman twice, that's going to be tough. You know, for Chad, because Chad's more of like, to me, like a redbud, right? Like a
Sunset.
sand guy, you know, like a ruts. You know, he likes the ruts, and Joel's a much more like Unadilla. He likes to just
I think he can go fast. I think he can go fast on the hard pack.
Oh yeah, he's definitely, you know, I'm not saying he's
not to say that
so
either one can't ride the other,
dude,
but
they would lap me in like a 3-lap race. So it's like, no, I'm not even having that conversation, man. But yeah, man. But with what's going on with like Chad and Joel in the sport, it's like really crazy how like our lineups is. It seems like every position has their like 2 rivals. Like it's like what I mean?
That's a good point.
It's really
right?
It's like Chad and Joel, Jeffrey Thomas.
Yeah.
Janusa, and then it was like Parker and Zach because
Ronnie Higgerson last year,
a little bit until he fell off. But yeah, it's like so really. But obviously, Chad and Joel were the guys up front. So, do you think Joel's going to do it? Because Joel seems extremely fired up.
Yeah.
He seems extremely ready and. Like you see all over social media, the new Ripido films.
That was really good.
I really enjoyed that. I think it was one. I wish that they would do a little bit more of stuff like that.
I like the behind the scenes look.
Yeah.
It's not all riding. Mm-hmm. It's a cool video to watch in the off season for sure.
Yeah, they need some. You get to see like them actually talk about it. like you said, Joel's out there, hanging out with everybody after the races.
The afternoon it happened. That night they had the after party after the races. And he was there, and he was in good spirits, and he was able to, compartmentalize that and put it behind him, because, and I guarantee you, it's just a product of him knowing he did everything he could in his power, he was fit, he was in the right position, everything that he could have done, he did, and it just wasn't meant to be. Mm-hmm. And you just have to look at it that way and let it go, because dwelling on that, it's not going to do you any good. Mm-mm. I mean, you could dwell on it.
I mean, it's easy to do that, but it's like people were talking about how he walks off from the bike, and then because his cases were cracked, we found out during that embedded. What was it? What did they call it? What did Rip Road was call it?
I can't remember what.
Well, you found out that his case was cracked. He thought his bike was done, so that's kind of why he walked away. And then he pushed it, and he didn't know he could cut the track. So there was kind of some mistakes. People were like, "Oh, if he wouldn't have been like a walk back to the trailer type of attitude." It's like, dude, that is so unfair to me. Yeah. It's like that's just like you have no idea what it's like to train and be on his level, and then look down at your bike on the last race and see oil pouring out of it and your crankcase annihilated. Right. Like you don't just like you're saying this like from the couch like your Cheetos all over your chest. Yeah. Like, so I drink some pussy.
That's like I was watching this clip on Instagram of Buttery Films, and he's hitting this free riding gap, and he bails off of it and he hits his tailbone real hard.
Joel?
No, Buttery Films.
Who was
the dirt bike kid?
Okay.
So I'm just using this as a comparison. And so I'm like reading in the comments, and everybody on there is saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have jumped off of it," or "Oh, you made the right decision jumping off." It's like you're sitting there on the couch telling him what he should have done in a split-second reaction. How he should have reacted to that. It's just such ridiculous people and their opinions from their couch.
Just armchair quarterback it up, man.
And that's like similar to the same thing that was happening to Chad when Chad won the championship. You had all these people who were angry at him for winning the championship. He put himself in the position to win it, and it fell in his lap, but he was there. Yeah. He was in the position to to win that.
You have to race every race. So it kind of sucks. Like if that chain would have broke in Daytona, or if it breaks in the last race, it's the same thing. Like if that would have happened in the middle of the year, I don't think he would have got the same amount of hate as if it happens at Loretta's.
Right.
But I think Chad, I think Chad gets a lot of unfair hate just because people say he's got I've heard people say he has like a cocky attitude or something a little bit, but I don't agree. I think sometimes I think it's like people want to see him lose, it seems like, because he's like, when you're the man, people want you to lose. Yeah. Big fan, Chad, by the way. Keep doing it. But,
and one thing I had thought about too is, Chad Reed, his thing, everybody used to say about him oh, you won that championship because James was hurt or because Ricky was hurt, whatever. And his thing was, well, you got to be in it to win it. And it is what it is. It's not your fault that happened. You were there, and you were prepared, and you were fast, and you got it. So I think that kind of stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I just think some of Chad's sort of attitude might come from the fact that he's like, dude, I dedicated my life to this sport, and then I become like 5-time champ, 6-time champ now, and it's like people hate on you still, and it's like, man, it's like I think there's some sort of resentment. Like even after Joel won, people were kind of like, but you're still the people's champ, Joel, and stuff like that. It's like a lot of people were that way, and I bet you Chad's over here like, like, what more do you want from me, dude? You know, like, I don't know.
They just gotta tune that stuff out.
Yeah, for on there, but that's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
I'm here for the juice, man.
I mean, you're like in the media now, so you gotta like be in there and just stir that pot. I guess.
I'm part of the fake news industry. All right. So who is going to come in and maybe shake up that duo, that Chad Joel, that JC?
So I would say the only person who's proven that they can do that at this point is Thomas Brown.
Yeah, I mean he's the only one with that real speed like that right now on a consistent level. Like, you know, Janusa's broken through. I think he got a second not last year, but the year before. He got a second in a moto. He's kind of creeping in there.
Showed some speed up front,
just
leading. He almost had High Point last year.
Oh, got passed right there at the end. Didn't he fall back twice to 2 spots on that race? I can't remember.
I can't really remember.
But south of the border, he gives up the second place on the last lap to Chad, and that's something that I think the pros struggle with, is that little bit of that buddy-buddiness. You know, people don't want to like close the door on each other hard all the time. You know.
See, I don't know. I mean, it's something where you got to have respect for the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're gonna have to see him again, you know, in 2 weeks. So, I wouldn't want to go too hard on it, or you could even get a penalty. You know, I don't know how they assess those, if it's like Supercross where they do, but you know, something where you know you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, very true, but. I don't see anybody coming in there. I mean, I would love to see someone do it. It's not that I hope Thomas does it. He seems to be working really hard. You see him on social media. He seems to be working really hard this off season, and I hope he comes in there, because he's just like when he won in Red Blood, like everyone was so pumped. Like I think everyone universally was like,
for sure,
sick, dude.
Yeah.
Someone else won. You know, it's like. I'd love to see just, you know, everybody wants a podium mix-up.
He was fast at Loretta's too.
Oh, yeah. He's cruising, man. He's on that. He's got the new PEP tuning, like dual ignition or dual injectors on his bike now.
Over my head.
It's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I've looked into it.
But yeah, I would say Thomas Brown is probably the first name that comes to mind. And then, you know, after Thomas, you're talking, you know, Jeffrey Rastrelli, Nick Janusa. You know, like I said, Rastrelli has shown, you know, glimpses of what he can do. You know, if he gets the start and it's the right track, and he can get out there and he can lead it. It's just going to be, can he be consistent enough to hold it? I think he's right there on the birth of his first win for sure. I think it can happen this year for him.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think this year is a pretty big pivotal year for him. I feel like he's right on that, like, sort of teeter-totter where he's about to fall over and kind of gain a lot of speed, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, it's now 1, 2, 3 is a, you know, like he's in there to win, you know, like he's about to finally break through and show that speed he was like, you know, hyped to have kind of coming into the pro class. Or he's going to start, you know, maybe we're going to see him fall back a little bit towards I don't know. I think it's, you know, he's been kind of right there. I think it's probably mentally taxing to be right there in that spot consistently. You know, it's not like he's like, God, like I just keep losing, and it's like you're doing good enough. It's like, oh my God, Chad and Joel somehow had never been born. I'd be the man. You know what I mean? Like it's like God.
Probably kind of how Chad Reed's felt most of his career.
Really, James and Ricky, exactly. You know. So, but
hey, what do you think about Nick Janusa switching over to the Yamaha?
Dude, I love it. I'm a Yamaha guy. I'm a Yamaha guy, man. I always feel like guys riding Hondas, it's like, dude, Honda doesn't even produce a quad anymore, and you guys are gonna spend money on them. It's like Yamaha never fully pulled out. I mean, yeah, but who won the championship this year? Their chains are at least better.
Well, it's only because Joel hit.
But no, dude, I think I don't know, because he rode Yamaha for a while, and then he switched back to Honda, and now he's back on Yamaha. And if you want some, you know, if you need some sauce, let me know. Some of this heavy. But so I don't know if he's gonna. I can't. That's a tough one, because the technology, or in terms of, you know, the stuff going on with the Yamahas has really improved. Like especially in the motor, because I think that's been the main complaint about the Yamahas. It just doesn't make
power
much
delivery,
power delivery, and because I think you have to do a lot more to the Hondas to get them to handle as well as the Yamaha. But the Hondas are way easier to, you know, get that motor going on them.
Yeah.
So, I hope he crushes it. I hope that's the key to his thing. And he's been working with Jeremy Lorenzo, who built my motor as well, and JLS, who's an awesome guy. Who, I mean, if you need anything for your Yamaha, hit him up. He's awesome. JLS Motorsports, and he's also using RP, Richard Pelchat's company. Have you seen that?
No.
Have you seen RP?
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, well, he's making a lot of great products, and I know Nick Janusa's moving to him. He's going to be one of the first guys. Because you know Richard Pelchat, right? The old pro from Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, it's his company.
I always think about Jasmine Plant.
No, that's the Frenchie.
He's
the Frenchie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's his company. It's they're making some really good stuff. I got their exhaust. It's pretty awesome. But he's switching to that stuff, so maybe we'll see him.
It'll be an interesting storyline to follow for sure.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely. It's also, maybe he's working out kinks with a new bike, or maybe he'll have it dialed. Who knows? It's racing. I mean, as we saw last year, anything can happen. So. And all right, so outside of that, like top 3, top 4 discussion, you got like who's gonna come in and sort of like I think kind of Zach Esmar kind of did it last year, broke into being like, hey, he's like. Yeah, crushing those top 5s. Who do you think's going to be that guy? Personally, me, I'm on the Sam Rowe train for that. I think.
Come at me, Rowe.
I'm coming at the road, dog. Because I mean, I've been watching clips of him. He just seems like he's flying. He's on that new team, that JH Racing squad, and that really helped Zach get his mark out last year. I think going to see old Sam Rowe sending it out there this year. That's my personal perspective.
I like Sammy. I like to watch him ride, man. He's got a lot of style.
Yeah, that's what I like.
I think one of the problems he had last year was just the consistency with his motor and everything like that. And I think if Johnny is helping him the way he did Zach last year, I think that could be huge for Sam coming in. But what do you think about the rookies coming in?
Yeah, we got some fast. I think we have some solid talent coming in this year. I think like Alan Myers is insane. Terrible hair, but
you don't like the flow?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh,
he looks like he's like lives underneath the bridge. Like he's like he's like VP gas, like holding up a sign, dude. Like give me like gas. But I think you got.
We'll work for VP.
Yeah, like we'll work for some VP. Like anybody like he's like we hitchhikes all the nationals.
You can't hate on the flow.
No, it's not that bad.
But yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, he showed a lot of speed last year. One ride that really sticks out in my mind with him last year that kind of summarized his season was High Point. High Point, he pulled the whole shot and was checking out on everyone and checking out on some fast guys. And in one corner, just locked it up, got her a little too sideways. I think he high-sided. I don't know. I was filming with the drone, so it's hard to like pay attention to things. But just kind of summarize how his season went. You know, he showed flashes of insane speed, and then he also showed like that he is like basically like a rookie as far as like on that pro-am pro level.
He's still pushing it. He doesn't have that speed on like. It's kind of like what Joel struggled with at the beginning of his pro career, is being because Chad could run as fast as Joel, going as fast as he could, but Chad's comfortable there. Yeah. Joel is on the edge there. Yeah. So, but now Joel's, I think he's caught up, but Edge is further. But I feel like that's where Allen is right now. He's like he can get there, but he's like barely hanging on when he's there.
Yeah, so, I think that's going to be the story for all the rookies, is like not to get caught up in racing who they're racing, like kind of just run their own race at a pace that they're comfortable with and see where they end up. Like we're talking the other guys, you got Brandon Hogue. I mean, that kid flies. Like,
dude, that video of him at Spider MX where he like tossed it on that little roller. That's a tiny little roller, dude, and he bucked it like he was like 65 degrees. Like that was sick.
Mad speed and mad, sauce, dude. He's just
mad sauce. He's got the sauce.
He's got the sauce.
That was a little creepy, but all right.
You know what?
He's got that juice, man. But I'm excited for Cody Ford. Bro. Yeah, he's got that. Got the noodly arms. Like we're working, dude. But Cody Ford, man. Obviously, he just has that huge support system behind him, which I think helps them out a lot. Being on that Ford Brothers racing team, I think they're set up pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, when you got Mark Baldwin in your corner, I mean, that's huge. He's one of the best in the business.
OG.
But there's no doubt that the kid has talent, and I think that he'll definitely be competitive. It's always interesting to see where it shakes out, because you can kind of like, if you gauge it off of last year, running pro-am, because you're racing against some of the pros, and I saw him leading a lot of laps, so it'll be interesting to see where he falls in as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. What do you think a realistic goal for those three is this year? I think top 10s are easily possible for all three of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
I think that there's opportunity for one of them to crack into the podium at a race. Oh, yeah. I would say for sure somebody's getting a top 5
at least once.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's just gonna, like I said, it's just gonna be mostly about consistency for them.
For sure, man.
But I have no doubt in my mind that at least one of those 3 are going to be able to really break into that top 5 and maybe even a podium with the speed they have if it all comes together for them on one day, because they have all the pieces. They just have to put them together.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think this is a really good class coming in. You know, it'll make the pro class, I think, have like about, you know, around 15 entries now, which is a lot better than like around 12 or so they had last year. So 50, it's crazy how much of a difference like 10 and 15 is in terms of like racing. It makes a pretty big difference. So seeing those guys out there, and I think they'll be in it too. They're not going to be, you know, just cruising along, you know, so I think it'll be pretty interesting. And so obviously those guys are coming out of the Pro-Am class. So the Pro-Am class this year is looking pretty gnarly. So who do you see, like, guys that are going to be coming into the pro class in the next like 2 years, year or so, but they're going to be running Pro-Am? Like, who's the new guys coming through, you think? The
guys that jump out to me, you have to start with, like we said, Noah Mickelson. I mean, with the speed he showed last year, you know, he potentially could run the pro class. Yeah. You know, I have no doubt in my mind about that. You know, he's right up there with his brother, and, you know, it'd be interesting to see where he would fall in. So, you know, if you're talking Pro-Am this year, you're going to have to be talking about him. Yeah. As well as Bryce Ford. You know, that kid
he hasn't announced what class he's racing there yet.
Oh, yeah. About that. He might be pro sport. Yeah. I got a little ahead of myself with that one.
A little bit. I think that he should go Pro-Am.
Yeah.
I think these guys...
Why not?
Because we're at this level kind of with the sport, I feel like they should kind of like, sort of like almost a one-up drill where it's like, I'm not saying like go to race a class you're not ready, but I feel like it's like, dude, you're Bryce Ford. You have this huge support behind you. You know, it's like if he gets in there, he's like... last year, whatever round it was when he had clinched the championship and he moved up to the 450, he's like almost winning the pro sport class.
Man, I was excited.
Yeah,
I was excited to see how he's gonna do.
Dude, man. He killed it, man. Cool. He's so fast. Like, I still remember watching him at South of the Border hit the quad on his like super mini or whatever, or the Youth All Star. I was like, it's cool.
Yeah,
I was like, Jesus, talent, he's so fast, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope he runs Pro-Am personally, and I think Noah Mickelson's going to dominate Pro-Am. Yeah. I think he's going to put smackdown on it.
I think Troy Hill can get in there and compete with him. You know, he'll have to deal with Troy. You know, Logan Stanfield looked fast last year, and I can't imagine that's going to do anything but, you know, go the other way, and he'll be even faster. So it'll be interesting to see him coming in full time. I think Brogan Geyer might be running Pro-Am this year, so it'll be an interesting class to see for sure.
Yeah, I really like well, Logan Stanfield's on that 969 team with Alan Myers. So they seem to be they put the work in. So I can see
they got a good program.
Yeah, they got a great program, man. With what's his name?
Travis Moore.
Travis Moore running it. Yeah, he's done a great job with them. I think that, I mean, they look fast. Their bikes look great, riding those hybrids.
He had them down there last year. That's for sure.
I really like Alan Myers' new Yamaha. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, because his Yamaha looks nasty. Have you seen it? His actual race bike. It looks really nice, but. Yeah, I'm really excited to see those guys get out there, but I'm on the Mickelson train for Pro-Am for sure. So, all right, but so now that we're talking about those guys, like, I want to get to like the overall perspective, like, you know, the overall sort of thing. You know, we're always trying to get more people out to the races, right? You know, like that's the general goal of everything. So this year, obviously, they came out with the stock class I believe with the goal of getting more people out to the races, obviously, or making it cheaper, more affordable, with the presumption that more people would come out if it was more affordable. So we have the stock class. What do you think of it?
You know, I'm not the biggest fan of it. You know, I don't think that, you know, for right now that it's going to bring anybody new out. I think that it's something that if you're trying to entertain the masses, you want to put on the most exciting show possible. Like we were talking about earlier with having them combined with the dirt bikes at Ironman, because it's an awesome show because they're hitting those triples uphill, all that kind of stuff. You're not going to do that on a stock bike. You know, it's not possible.
You don't know that yet. You don't know that. You don't know that.
I guess it is a Yamaha.
Yeah, it is, man. That's what I'm saying.
But, you know, it's just one of those things. I don't think that it puts a better product on the track. And so I don't think it's going to excite anybody any more than what we already have. So that's the side I see of it there. But, you know, there's the other side of it. Does it bring the factories in? You know, does that help it? I don't see that like the stock bike, like you said, that somebody can just go buy it and go racing. I don't think that's stopping anybody currently. We string it together on a shoestring budget and go racing, and so I think if you want to go racing, you're racing. I don't think you're going to say, oh, there's a stock class now that I can just go buy a Yamaha and go race it, and that's what was stopping you,
Mm-hmm. Here's where I disagree with you on it. I don't think that it's going to bring a bunch of new people into it. I don't think, dude rolling by the local dealer is going to be like, oh, like if they had a sign, I'd be like, oh, pro stock class, race quads. He's going to be like, hell yeah, pulling a buy, a $9,000, YFZ450. But I think a lot of the old heads, a lot of these old guys, apparently some stuff I'm seeing kind of in like comment sections and things of being like, I'm going to come out and run the stock class. Just because they're like, it's nothing, just buy I already have a stock bike or something, and be like, oh, well, now I can come out and run some of those. So I think it might bring some of the not maybe older guys, I mean just some of the people who run it for a year or so and got out, and then they'll be like, oh, I can run a stock class.
Like an easy way back in.
Yeah, just an easy way back into the sport, not necessarily
new blood.
Yeah. And I agree with you in the sense that I don't think it's putting you're not putting a Ferrari out on the track for sure. They're out there racing Volkswagens.
Yeah, that's
everyone's racing Volkswagens.
Yeah.
So and so you get bumper cars,
and they are racing Volkswagens specifically because they're all racing the same brand, or are they? I don't know.
That's we'll talk about in a second. But my thing is, I just think it will I think Thomas Brown's going to crush everybody in it personally because he's running it. Ween's running. I think Thomas Brown's trained on a stalker for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I think he's going to be he probably is. I hope he does. I hope he comes out and kills it. Personally.
That's an interesting thought that I didn't even think about before. So if we have these anticipations for the regular pro class, does that change for the stock pro class? Does that, like you said, so, before we said it's, is it Joel or is it Chad? And then we have the next tier. Is it different for stock?
See, that's what I believe is going to happen. I think you're going to see guys that, some of these old pros come out of the woodwork, they're like a pro stock class. Be like, dude, hell yeah. I don't have to apply for 1 million sponsors and build a program and have a rig full of 1 million parts. I can just sling it in the back of my truck, and they might not even run the whole series. Just getting some more people out, even if they're running amateur classes. So I think it will work in that effect. I don't think it's going to work in the effect that some people kind of bring up, oh, it's going to bring all these people in. I don't think that either. I think I agree with you. We put on bigger show, but for us at the races, already quad guys, already people who are into it, I think are going to really enjoy that class. I think because it's going to be those guys out there, and they're running like little slow bikes, so they're going to be struggling, and I think everybody's going to be super tight. There's not going to be anything major and separate anybody, and I think you're going to see some really good racing.
You bring up a good point there because I had heard from Alan Myers, and he was talking about how much fun he's been having training on his stock Yamaha because it's just kind of refreshing. You go from riding a certain way, and then now you're riding and you're trying to have to stretch everything out, seat balance everything. It's just a different style of riding. And so maybe that style of riding might suit a different rider better, and maybe we'll see some different results. That could be cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping comes of it, So I think it's going to bring guys out of the woodwork, So, and I think maybe if they keep it, we'll have more guys coming in, also more of the already pro, some of the guys currently in the pro class, seeing how awesome the stock class is, seeing how much fun guys are having running it, and then they slow the guys that weren't doing it come over. Obviously, we're not going to see guys like Hetrick come over because he's not going to go race a stock Honda, but you might see a guy like Rastrelli buy a stock Zook, because he's not a factory Honda guy, and he can ride a Suzuki if he wants, and show up. And that's another thing, like we mentioned earlier, is it going to be all Yamahas? We can see some KTMs, some Zooks, some stuff like that popping
out. Dusting out a stock KTM.
Yeah, dude, because apparently they were sick. I don't know much about them, but apparently, in stock form, they were the best stock, roll out of the showroom. You could actually take, they came with Fox shocks.
Really?
Yeah, you could roll it off the showroom and take it out there. Dudes are racing the pro class already with just exhausts.
What about the Can-Am Moto? Is that something
people seem to hate that bike.
I wonder what kind of
people see every time I ask somebody about dude, it handles great, but that bike sucks ass. Because they're just I don't like that bike. They're everything else about it was terrible and I hate it.
Hey, Joel and Rastrelli used to throw some
fat whips on that thing, dude. Yeah, dude. That butter whip from Rastrelli is still the best whip ever, dude. He's completely flat.
Yeah, there's nothing that can top that.
No. I still want to see somebody do I've seen one. I think you posted it on the TRC page. That guy that was busting the the flat whips.
Yeah.
But he
like,
was
like
getting
the
pretty,
unwhip, like
yeah,
the
like the
whip.
flat whips,
Yeah.
like that. Those were pretty sick. I'd like to see some guys doing that, man.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So now with the stock class and everything, they making proactive changes to do some stuff. Like, where do you see the direction of the sport? Like, do you see it maintaining the same? Like, sometimes I think separating the pros and the amateurs in some kind of way could be better, but I don't know. That's just like brain, you know what I mean? Like, sort of brainstorming type of deal.
Yeah, it's like, how do you know if that helps or hurts it? But yeah, as far as the future of the sport, I think it's probably just going to plug along like it is unless something changes. It's going to have some sort of injection of change, whether that's this stock class taking off and the factories, building bikes and it kind of coming back, or if it's, a situation like, on the internet, you have all these people on the internet who just make fun of it all the time. It's hard to get into something like that. So something would have to change there.
That's what I think too. Is like the quad dirt bike divide is a big deal. People I think downplay it too much, but it's like just like GTR, man. Like there's a lot of drama going on behind like the new owners of that track. Some people are aware of it. You've heard of
a little bit.
Yeah, some people kind of know about it because a lot of guys used to come down and train there, so it's a little bit prevalent. But they recently kicked quads off the track, and because this is a very local track to me, it's 20 minutes down the road. It was awesome. Especially when Donnie was there. Donnie was awesome. He at least for me. I know you said you had some different types of interactions, or not bad, but different interactions with him. But he was always great with me, and they never kicked me off the track. These guys, like out at GTR, you'd be out there, and they'd be like, "Man, I don't." The owner was like, "I already paid for setting up." He's like, "Unless 5 more of you guys show up, I'm not gonna let you guys can't ride." And it was a Wednesday night practice, so I'd gotten off work and like rushed out there, and I was just like, dude, we already paid. And he was waiting for more quads to show up before he would even let the dirt bikes go out there. And so the dirt bike guys are like coming over to him like, dude, we know this guy. Like, he can ride with us. Like, we don't care. Like, we know him, And they're just like, and he's like, oh, like acting like he's going to just run all the kids over and kill them or something, And they're like, no, man, like, we just want to ride. We're not training for like the pro nationals or anything. Like, we're just trying to duke around.
Yeah, anytime I'm at a track, like a local track, I try to be very respectful of like their
ruts.
Just even the parking lot, like everything. Like, I'm not trying to leave a mess, like nothing. Like, I'm not roosting in the parking lot.
I pushed my bike all the way to the edge of the track before I started.
But yeah, like definitely, I'm not out there trying to knock over ruts. No. I'll take an alternate line. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to be out there and have fun. And like having a place to ride is a problem these days.
Yeah.
So any track that allows me, I'm like, following the rules to the T.
That's one thing I think guys get a little like angry or like vindictive sometimes, and they like intentionally blow out ruts and stuff. So like if there's a big dirt bike rut in it, I'll just treat it like a quad rut, not slide on it. Just use it as like a one wheel rut, turn on it. But it's like I think if just died of stroke, dude. It's like I think if the conversation was a little more open, like, hey, dirt bike guys, like we know we can ruin your track. Like, you know what I mean? We know we can ruin your track. Like, hey, if we'll stand near you guys' main line if you guys got a problem or if we need to regroom the track. Like you don't have to make a bunch of crazy except like we've even said like I'll pay an extra $5. Like that's not a big deal. Like I'll do that.
I understand. I have twice the wheels. That's
okay
with
I have
me.
twice the wheels. I have like twice the less draw. Not as many of them are here. And so it's kind of like. That's what I think is going to bridge the divide. Is having more of like an open discussion where it's like we can't act like
where they like
we
let
run
us
the show.
In. Yeah, where they let us in and then realize they're not so bad.
Yeah. Well, let us in. And they're like, oh, the dirt bike ruts are messing up the face of this tabletop. So it's like, well, then just roll it, dude. Like if you're not going to jump it, but and that's kind of like with that, like kind of the difference between like critiquing and bashing or like complaining and like saying something productive, I think is something weird. Like I noticed like with the national series, if you say anything about how they run at the nationals, some people get like real butthurt. They're just like, what are you doing? Like, and they're just like, it's like, I'm literally trying to make it better. Like I'm providing, it's like, some people bring up problems without any solutions, and that's an issue. If you're
Well,
just like,
it's
this
kinda-
sucks, and then you have no alternate, then it's different.
But, you know, I raced the series last year, and I feel like they did a pretty good job overall. Obviously, there's things that can get better with everything, but it's kind of goes back to, like, what we were talking about is, like, everybody's an expert on Facebook, you know, and, like, what they should have done. This is how it should have been. Everybody's got their opinion, and I think that, for the most part, they do a good job, and, you know, it's just... It sucks that people feel the need to go on and bash things, just like we've talked about before, just like with social media. Like, kids are the future of this sport, right? And if you're a kid, why would you want to race ATV motocross? You know, first of all, it takes somebody that's brave. You got to have a big set of nuts to hit a big jump on a four-wheeler.
Whether dirt bike guys want to admit it or not.
Yeah, right? And then also, you have to be confident in yourself enough to do something that other people are going to make fun of just because you like it and it's fun. And I guarantee you, everybody that talks shit about riding ATV motocross or ATVs or whatever, if they rode one, there's no way they're going to go ride it and be like, oh, that sucked.
Yeah,
Hell no, it's fun.
No, it's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like what I think. That's why I always say like that dirt bike elitism. They're sort of like in this club where they're like, if it's not a dirt bike, it can't be cool or fun. Like motocross is purely for dirt bikes, and that's just like, but I'll be fair, some quad guys are being gay about the side-by-sides. They're like, oh, side-by-side, messing up the track. It's like, they do. But it's like, who are we to say that? Like, so it's like, it's super funny how that's like moved over to
I know.
now we're like, side-by-side.
I've caught myself.
I've heard you say it several times, so I brought it up. But I was like, dude, we can't complain about anything, dude. So I was like, but with the so dirt bike guys, they're super lame. Well, they just think that it's like they're like this can only be this way, so they're just like anything else is sort of like lame. And but us, we ride anything. If it's got a motor, an engine, and wheels, like we'll put some dirt on it. We'll send it on it.
For real.
You know what I mean? Like all quad guys, it's like, man, quads are getting boring to me. I sell my quad and I buy a bike, and I go ride a bike for a while, and then I'm like, you want to know what? I want to get back into quads and get back into quads, or guys getting into side by sides, or even flat track car racing or something. It's like we're much more about like racing, it seems, and dirt bike guys are much more just all about.
Yeah,
dirt
you're
bikes,
right. It's
you know
kind of
what
like
I mean?
an elitist thing.
Yeah,
because you know,
that's
my
why I say
thought
that.
is always like, so wait, you don't like riding a jet ski? You don't like riding in a side by side? You don't like trophy trucks? You don't like race cars? Like, you only like dirt bikes? Like, I don't understand that mindset. And it's just like something where, you know, it's just the cool thing to do is to make fun of four wheelers. And I feel like until that changes, it's something that's going to be, you know, an uphill battle because, like I said, if you were a kid, why would you choose to go that path like on your own unless it was something that your parents, you know, brought you up doing? You know, so it's kind of just one of those things that I feel like it needs a. You were in the military. What was that thing called?
That thing. So descriptive. What's that stuff that looks like a thing?
Hearts and Minds campaign.
Hearts and Minds, exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what we need, man. And, well, like, I just agree with you. We talk about how we need to get, like, old dirt bike pros or, like you know, everybody's seen that old video of Jerry McGrath riding that Banshee.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's exactly what I think we need, you know?
Just that what's going to be, like, get, like, got Jeff Ward out there running 40 plus. You know what I mean? Like, that would be sick, dude.
You got to make an edit of Slay riding a four-wheeler. You need to get Axel Hodges to do it. You need Josh Hill to do it.
Good.
You need
yeah,
one of these young
those
social
Instagram
media
influencers.
Yes, that's who you need. I guarantee you, you see Slay ripping around on his hunting four-wheeler, you know he'd love to ride it. You just got to get that situation put together, and that is beyond my ability. I'll tell you that.
DM him.
Yeah, we'll fall in the like 100,000th one, you know?
Just keep doing it every day.
It would be cool, though.
Send a lot of unsolicited dick pics. He's definitely going to get in touch
Get
with
some
us
attention.
eventually.
Get some attention. May not be what we want. But.
Might be the cops, but we'll get in touch with them. Oh my god, yeah. So like, we were talking about social media. That was the funniest thing to me because I told like we talked about the GTR thing with them getting banned, but some guy like pulled me into some Facebook group called Nuke the Quad. All right. And they like started, they like posted my profile on there, and they all started just like roasting me on it.
So wait a second, they pulled you into this group.
Yeah, well, this guy was.
They invited you into the group on Facebook just to make fun of you.
Yeah, solely to make fun of me. And I guess they thought I would actually get butthurt and like leave, you know, be like, look, I'm leaving this group.
And they're like, oh, we got another one.
Yeah, but then I actually started crushing them. Like, they started talking shit to me, and I was like, dude, I don't really care about you guys. I don't even know you, so I'm not actually gonna get mad. But then they kind of started being cool. But the whole thing is that what they do on this page is literally find quad guys they'll find tracks that are talking about banning quads, and quad guys will get upset, and they'll go on there and like troll the page, being like, get all the quads away, da da da. And like it's kind of funny. Like, yeah, it's funny. It's like internet trolling, but like it kind of isn't. Like, it actively, like, if that track owner is going to look at that and actually believe it, you know, and think that people are really that worried about the quads being
I'd be
out there.
willing to bet that those guys barely ride.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I bet you they barely ride, like, three times a year.
Nobody complains more than dirt bike riders, dude. Like, no one. Like, when Donnie opened up MX 101, dude, the first day he opened it up, when I went the next weekend, because I knew it was going to be super crowded. There was like 100 people there, so but I went the next weekend, and Donnie had to tame down these jumps, change the track a little bit, because all these D-class dudes that are, you know, are like up there like, I can't clear everything on the track, you know, and then I'm clearing everything on the track. Like, it's like, yeah, there were some big jumps out there, but not every track is going to be for the D-class, dude. Like, some tracks are going to be like B-class level tracks. Like, you know, it's just fact, you know, like,
that's what I was going to say. Like, the majority of those people who complain about four-wheelers on the track are guys that are in C-class and D-class and can only turn with a rut.
With a railroad track, essentially.
Somebody that can really ride needs to be able to turn on everything. You know, it's not always going to be a perfect rut. You might have to flat track a turn. You know, so that's something that you can work on. Like, they don't understand that. And so I think that's, you know, the biggest problem is, like, the squids make all the noise.
Yeah, exactly. You have this people over here that are making all, like, the most noise. Like, even some of the guys who aren't making noise probably don't, like, they're not, like, in love with us, but they don't care enough to, like, make a fuss about it, you know? And that's, like, kind of like, let's just keep you there. You know, just stay there in that zone. So, if you could be, like, you know, king for a day, you know, what would you tell, like, the 3 things to improve, like, the Nationals? Like, what would you, like, magic wand it and be like, hey, this is the 3 things that, like, we do now to, like, improve the show, improve maybe like spectator entries, race entries, you know, whatever, any all in between. Like, what do you think those 3 like most important changes that could bring the most people out?
Like, my dream, or
or your
like a
let's go realistic.
This is what they should
realistic.
do.
Let's go realistic.
I really don't have a good answer for that, because
Yeah.
then I'd just be somebody, you know, making up. You know.
See, that's what I was talking. The difference between like critiquing and bashing, like, because we're gonna say here's some things I think they should do, not what they're doing is stupid. There's a difference between saying like they need. I think they should try doing this, and that's not bashing to me.
Yeah,
but
so
that's you know,
my idea is they need to run it more like the dirt bikes, and I've, you know, voiced this opinion before as far as utilize some of these regional series like SC Quads. You have to run, you know, at least 4 to 5 races in that series to qualify for maybe 2 nationals a year. And I would say that the pros, you know, rotate around some of those regional events to hit their whole schedule, but you would just run, you know, the regional side of it and then go to maybe 2 nationals a year. And I feel like that would be more affordable for the amateurs, less time consuming for them. Yes, I would.
See, that's what I think too. Is I think we should develop these, like, you got any ATV, you got District 8 and District 13 do pretty well on the quads as well, and because like they have their own quad series in their own.
I mean,
AMA
you can
district.
include the West Coast.
No, I know, that's what I was just about to say. You got SC Quads, and that covers pretty much the whole East Coast and like sort of right there, right? And then the Midwest is kind of, they don't really have much. They were more hair scramble. But there's that Northwestern MX. They have like their regional series in the Northwest, which is pretty good. They got some fast guys out there, but they obviously can't afford to come down to the East Coast Nationals, essentially. You know, so I totally agree with that. You took the words right out of my mouth, man. That's what I was going to say, is let the pros be separate, but they go, you know, do 2 races in each region, let's say, and your regional score for however many rounds your regional thing has, it's like the top whatever in each class qualify for the big amateur national.
Yeah.
And then, so it's like that whole region, and then it's like, so everybody's like, it's going to hype up the competition of those regions too, because it's like all those people who were chasing the nationals are now at SC Quads or Northeast ATV or any ATV. And any ATV is super legit. So, and then those districts, I think all they should just go, you know, kind of southeast.
I think it'd be better to run it that way, where it's a point system, as opposed to like the dirt bikes, where it's like the area and regional qualifiers.
Yeah, we just don't have the numbers to do that. I just don't think we have the numbers to be like, oh, come try out, because then that's like 3 races, and, you know, make the series be like, all right, at each top, like if you have, let's say we do, probably end up with like 5 series You know, and then let's say you have you take the top 4 or top 3 out of each class from those regions, and they automatically qualify to go to the big national, and the pros do 2 to 3 rounds in each region, so each guy gets to see them. And I think you'll see it with that. I think it'll be cool is you'll see like some of the local, like the regional pro guys run pro when the pros are there with the pros, but then they can't, you know, chase it all around.
Yeah,
but then you'll have that like core group of people who like chase it all around.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that would be cool, and I think that could, you know, it would be a radical change. So I'm sure it's, you know, scary for them to even think about something like that.
But that's
take a lot of organization and working with those other groups, and you know, is it AMA sanctioned? Are those regional series AMA? So there would be a lot to figure out, but I truly believe that could be a better direction for it.
I believe so too, but I think that also comes, should we separate from the AMA and become our old thing like ATVA? Because a lot, you know, GNCC separated from AMA.
Did they?
Yeah, GNCC is not AMA affiliated. At least I'm about 99% sure of that. But they separated from...
Well, you're going on record, by the way.
Yeah, let me check this out real quick. Hold on, I'm using my Google device, man. But I'm pretty sure, because I read an article on it.
But yeah, so I would say that is probably my logical thought of what should happen. What I would do if I were king for the day, king of the world, is I would start my own ATV motocross race team, and I would have people of high profile that would bring attention to the team and to the series. And so that would mean, you know, hiring ex-dirt bike pros, using social media to advertise that and get people interested in, because I think that would be an interesting story to follow, like a dirt bike pro's journey from being dirt bike pro rider to four-wheeler pro rider. And I think that'd be something interesting to follow and see if they could even do it. And so I think it would, you know, if they were speaking highly of it and how much fun they were having, I think that that could really help, you know, interest some new people.
For sure, man. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I didn't just say the GNC isn't with the AMA. Okay, I guess it is sanctioned by the AMA, apparently. But I read something a while ago that says the GNCC. I think they separated from them for a while. Maybe that's what I read. Maybe it was a while ago. I'm not sure.
Maybe you had a couple tall boys.
Yeah, maybe I got the juice flowing with me, and I got, you know. But yeah, that's exactly what I think is the key to getting. That's what I think is actually going to get more people into it. Is make things regional. Like people, like, you know, like I'm just, my experience, you know, is local racing locally in SE quads. I've only done, you know, my local nationals that come through. So it's like, I think that's where the bread and butter is, and that's where we're gonna get more people in. If people don't like driving 4 or 5 hours for SE quads, you know,
and it's easier
like,
to commit to something like that too. You know, you're only going to be going 3 hours, 4 hours from the house. You can leave Friday night, you know, get home Saturday night. Like, it's a whole lot easier than having to leave Wednesday night or Thursday morning.
Your whole
get
week
home
is
Monday. You know, it's difficult, man. Like, I used up all my PTO time that I'd saved up for years. So, I mean, it's just, you know, it's a difficult thing to do.
Man. That's the hard thing about getting old when you still want to race.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, because you want to take it like super, you want to be competitive, but you can't.
For sure.
You know, it's hard. That's the hard thing about old man racing.
I got to drive myself home and I got to be at work. So, shit, I really can't take that risk.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, it is difficult, man. So I appreciate you having me on, letting me co-host this thing with you. So what's the plan for this?
Dude, the goal with this thing is to bring. I want to talk to as many pros and as many industry leaders as possible, and get them on like a long form platform, you know, and be able to talk to them, bring them out, give them some personality, give them, you know, let the world see like what these people do and how hard they work. I feel like they're underappreciated in sort of the moto or even like just sort of racing industry, you know. So that's my goal, is to just, I feel like that could really help us grow, is people being able to see now that as big as podcasts and these type of shows are, you know, most entertainment is very niche now, kind of like this, you know. So, you know, have you on, this is a, you know, Steve's being modest, he's helped out a lot, dude. Me and him have been like working pretty hard on this thing, so we want to bring like good content, talk about the races, like
hype the sport,
right? Man. We want to. I got some funny videos we want to edit, shoot that. Hopefully, maybe eventually, hopefully at some of the rounds later this year, bring in some sort of coverage from the races. Hopefully, maybe not ride.
Are you going to go to Daytona?
Like so as of right now, yes. Hopefully, as long as work doesn't fall through, I will be at Daytona. Hopefully, trying to bug the pros. So be ready.
Get some sound bites.
Get some sound bites, dude, and hopefully get drunk. But at Daytona. But then yeah, man. So that's pretty much what I think is to expect from the show. Is just hopefully we'll coming out with. I'm thinking bi-weekly or monthly shows because. I mean, it depends on what's going on. It depends on what kind of guests we want to get on. I want to get as many type of people as I can on and have them face to face. And we'll see. And on the next episode, we're gonna be talking about the regional series and SC Quads with Glenn Turner and all of his stuff and how
obviously
that's going.
talking some results, nationals,
Yes,
how things are
Daytona
panning out at that point.
Yep, Daytona will have been there, maybe even the first round by the time, because SC Quad's first round is April 6th at Mill Creek. If you're in the southeast region, you should definitely go. It's a blast, man. It's the most fun quad race, nice, and it's a really good atmosphere, and it's great. I love it. It's really got me hooked back into the sport.
Oh, that's what pulled me back in.
Yeah,
sure.
SC Quad. Yeah, having like a legit only quad series. And I was coming back in. I was like, man, am I gonna have to race nationals in the local series with the bikes and stuff again? And it's like now that you have like a nice quad only series, man, it's just great, man. Glenn's a great guy. He'll help you out with anything. Buy his skid plates. They're awesome. I rode them.
All right, man.
Yeah,
well,
man.
I had fun.
This has been dope, man. It's been great. Thanks, guys. If you watched the whole thing, I appreciate it.
See you next time.